What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and you're watching our Big Ten football channel. Our 2019 college football schedule previews continue with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. You can see their schedule on your screen. This program seems to be about ready to turn the corner. We saw it in the second half of the season last year in their bowl victory. Minnesota, it's getting there, and PJ Fleck, it's taken him a little bit of time, but Minnesota, it just feels like they are very close to breaking through and becoming a top 25 type team. Will 2019 be the year that they do that? That's the big question. They return almost everyone from last season. Plenty of production and talent back on this roster. So, I mean, maybe this is a year that they take a huge jump. They made the bowl game last year. Maybe this year they get to 9 wins or perhaps even win the West. We never know because this division, I think, is going to be wide open and it's going to be exciting. Again, it's a manageable schedule. They face South Dakota State, Fresno State, and Georgia Southern in the non-conference. Now, Fresno State and Georgia Southern are two of the better group of 5 teams, so those are not going to be guaranteed wins by any means, but they're winnable games. They are games that Minnesota can win. And then you look at their schedule in the Big Ten. They don't play Ohio State and they don't play Michigan, so that bodes well for them. They also don't play Michigan State, so a very favorable schedule in the Big Ten. They got Purdue on the road, then Illinois and Nebraska at home, and Nebraska figures to be one of those teams just like Minnesota that are starting to get close. And I think with Scott Frost there and now moving into their second year, they are also going to be much improved this year. They have Rutgers on the road, Maryland, Penn State at home, Iowa on the road, Northwestern on the road, and then Wisconsin at home to close it out. The schedule is very manageable and almost, I would say, it's an easy schedule except for those final 4 games, and that's a pretty tough stretch. You're talking Penn State, at Iowa, at Northwestern, and Wisconsin. Those 4 games are 4 of the toughest games in a row that I have seen out of any of these schedules. I mean, that's going to be pretty tough. So we look for the easy wins for Minnesota. It's South Dakota State. That's it. That's the only game that I'd say, yeah, they should win this game. So then you start trying to figure out the best and worst case scenario for this Minnesota team and what their projected record might be as you go through here. Let's talk best case scenario. They beat Fresno State, they beat Georgia Southern, and they beat Purdue, they beat Illinois. They're probably, throw Nebraska in there, they're going to lose one of those games if I had to guess. So you've got 1 loss, and then I think they beat Rutgers, beat Maryland, and again, this is best case scenario. And out of those final 3 or 4 games, I think splitting those games would be probably about best case scenario. So yeah, maybe 9 wins for this team. It's possible. Now on the flip side, worst case scenario, you lose to Fresno State or Georgia Southern, lose to Purdue on the road, lose to Nebraska, and then lose maybe those final 4 games, all 4 of them potentially. And if that were to happen, maybe they even fall down to about 5-7. So I think between 5 and 9 wins for this team, looking at the 12 regular season games, that's a pretty wide margin. But again, it's tough to really pinpoint how this team is going to do. If we were just going to say, okay, here's my prediction, my projected record for Minnesota, it'd be 7-5. We'd just go right in the middle. And I'm not saying that's going to be my prediction, because as you all know, I'm a long ways away from making my predictions. I have to go through and evaluate all these teams, not only their schedules, but their rosters and things like that. So, yeah, I think 7-5, something like that. If we wanted to narrow this down and maybe say 6 to 8 wins, that might be a little bit better. But I do think 5 wins is possible, and I do think 9 wins is possible. Again, given this schedule, that Nebraska game is going to be huge. If they can win that and they can start the season off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins, and they're 8-0 heading into that Penn State game, watch out for Minnesota. They could be a dangerous team and a team that could potentially even maybe make it to the Big Ten championship game. I think all of the teams pretty much in that division have a shot. I think Minnesota has a great shot. I think Northwestern has a great shot. Wisconsin, Nebraska, Purdue maybe even has a chance. Illinois is going to be better. So, I mean, it's really wide open in that division. I think it's going to be one of the more competitive, maybe the most competitive division in all of the Power 5 as far as college football goes. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out, and I think Minnesota, again, will be a player, and they will be in that conversation. Thank you for watching this video. If you're a Big Ten football fan, please subscribe to the channel. Leave us your thoughts down in the comments below. And for the latest in Big Ten football, keep it right here.